Hey, I have a new guest. What's your name and what are you doing at JFOL?
I'm Maurice Naftalin, and I'm here to talk about collections puzzlers with Dmitry Vyazelenko. So we have a talk where we put up kind of slightly weird bits of code, but not all that weird, and ask people what does this do, and so we have a bit of fun, and then people get to vote, and we can see how well people know the collections framework. Some of the questions are quite obscure, but some of them are pretty instructive, I think.
And what is the average score of your questions?
That I don't know. I was complaining about this just now. The software that supports online audience voting is quite inflexible, and there's a strict limit to what it can allow you to do.
Okay.
I think I do have a record of this, so I could actually go away and add it up. But basically, my feeling was that the software assigns different colours of bars to the different votes, and generally speaking, pink seemed to do best.
Would you be a good professor? Would you be a good professor in school? Would your students be happy with your exams?
Well, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. You should ask them. I've been living off teaching for quite a long time now, so I must be almost good enough to keep it.
Okay.
Keep just enough people coming back.
What's your history in Java? How long are you using Java?
Oh, I've been using Java since really early on, since the very beginning. I never could get myself comfortable with C++. So in the 1990s, I found myself without a mainstream programming language that I really could enjoy, and this was the first time in my life that I didn't feel like I had something in which I could just do side projects and so on. So when Java came along, it it did seem better, but what the main thing was, it didn't have all the things I hated about C++, and I really bought into the marketing hype, and it was Java had a huge launch, so there was a period when it was so fashionable. But in the very early days, everybody, including non tech people, had heard of it, and Java developers were people were being dragged off the street and stuck in front of in front of screens to become Java developers. And I bought into that hype, and I've just stayed there ever since.
And how do you look at what's currently happening in Java and all these 6 month releases and new features popping up?
Well, basically, I think that I think the 6 month cadence has been good. I mean, I buy that. I buy that hype as well. I think the developments in the language are mostly good. It's very difficult in terms of the libraries. It's hard to. I mean, like I know about the collections library because I write about that and I talk about that. And I have a new book coming out
Okay,
about
promote it.
about all right, we're there about generics and collections. It's a new edition of an old book. So there's a book that's I wrote in with Phil Wadler in 2006 about generics and collections, and I'm doing a new edition now.
2006, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
that needs an
yeah.
update.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there certainly have been a lot of changes. There's need a lot of revision, but you might, and I mean, you'd look at the old book and you say, "Oh, this is very out of date." There's a lot of out of date assumptions in there, but the substance of generics has not changed that much since
Yeah.
Java 5, and the collections library changes relatively slowly because when you've got something as big as that, with as much with as many requirements for backward compatibility, and they're very, very determined about backward compatibility, and I appreciate that. I like that.
And that's
So
that's what happens in Java. You have this backwards
yeah,
compatibility, which is one of the strong points.
it's one of the strong points, but it also means. I mean, what I think is really interesting and challenging is not only do they have to think about each new feature, does this affect existing code, but they also have to think, does this affect new features that we might introduce in the future? So it's a really complicated space to think about, and it's bound to be that as the language becomes more complex,
Mhm.
that the speed of change is going to slow down. And that said, I think there are some really exciting developments, and I'm seeing things. I mean, like for example, I think Project Loom and structured concurrency, which will come after that, will really be a game changer.
Mhm.
Um, I'm pretty excited about Valhalla because it's only in the last few years that I've come to realise how incredibly unsympathetic object-oriented programming is to the architecture of modern computers. So there is still plenty of progress to make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're making it, so that's a
Yeah,
good
no,
thing.
I think it's pretty exciting.
You're a speaker, but what sessions are you also joining
Sorry.
today?
Session?
What sessions?
I just went. Well, I've right. So I generally don't get to many sessions before I am speaking because normally I've got to sort out the presentation, and that was indeed the case. So I've only had the room for one talk since the presentation, which was on Kotlin and how. Category theory, concepts from category theory, could help in programming, and it looked like a really interesting talk. And I'm afraid, after a session, after I'm done presenting, I'm not always very alert, so I'm going to go back and look at the recording of that. It looked pretty good. Urs Peters gave that talk.
You're doing a lot of talks, a lot of conferences.
I'm not doing a lot at the moment because. I usually do a few every year, but this year I'm really trying to focus on getting that book done. I've had to alter the slide that said today I have a slide obviously advertising that saying, "Hey, due out 2023," and I score out the 2024. I really do not want to have to alter that again.
It will be available soon.
Real soon now.
Yeah. Okay. What do you like about being at a conference? So you have the talks, of course, but you also have the gathering of people.
I mean, I mean, a lot of the speakers know one another, and it's good to meet friends again. I mean, that's really kind of that's quite nice. And then, of course, you meet new friends as well. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I like it, especially with remote working, which I do all the time, and I never share an office with anybody. It can be pretty isolated.
Yeah.
So I mean, I talk to people on Zoom and so forth quite a lot, but actually there's no substitute for meeting people face to face, especially because you get to meet a lot of them all at once.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy these events, and they're even though I don't go to that many of them, they're quite a big part of my life.
Okay, thanks a lot for this talk. I'll let you eat now because I just took your bag from the table.
Right. Now I know where the camera is.
Enjoy your day here, and thanks for being the guest here.
Thanks for asking me.